Hello friends, welcome to YouTube channel Electronics for You. Here again I will explain this block diagram reduction problem, and here we have to find the transfer function of this block by using block diagram reduction rules. Now look at the diagram. First we have to apply any one of the three rules, that is blocks in series, blocks in parallel, or feedback loop. After carefully watching this, you can't find any of the rule which is applicable here directly. You can see that this G2 and G3 are in parallel, but this takeoff point is actually exist here, and therefore again these two are not connected in parallel. So we have to find another chance, that whether we can apply interchanging of summing point or splitting of summing point. Then these are not consecutive summing points. Also we can't split any summing point here, and therefore again next rule are not applicable here, and therefore we'll move to the further steps, that shifting of summing point or shifting of takeoff point. Now again observe carefully and try to apply any one of these rules. If you observe it carefully, you can see that this takeoff point can be shifted here. So our step number 1 is shifting takeoff point after a point. And if we shift the takeoff point after this block, if we shift this takeoff point after this block, the transfer function of this branch, that is G3, will be divided by this G2 as per the rule, and therefore this G3 will be divided by this G2, and the takeoff point is further shifted here. Therefore I will draw this takeoff point here, and the block that is converted is actually G3 divided by G2. G3 was already there, and now G2 is actually a shifted one, and therefore the block diagram is further modified to this one. This takeoff point and this takeoff point is actually same because they are connected to a common node. Now look at the diagram, and further you can apply your step number 2, that is these blocks are in parallel. Now the transfer function of this is 1, and therefore the resultant will be 1 plus G3 upon G2, and therefore the block diagram will be modified to this one. I have just written here G2 plus G3 upon G2. So the modified block diagram looks like this. Further we have to apply some other rule to solve it. Now this problem can be solved in two ways again. First one that you can do is to shift this summing point here, and further you can interchange the summing point to simplify further and solve it. Or you can shift again this takeoff point after a block, means this takeoff point can be shifted here, and further we can solve it. And I will apply the second rule here. So our next step is shifting takeoff point after the block, and again rule will be same. This branch will be divided by this transfer function, that is the transfer function of this block. So H1 will be divided by G2 plus G3 upon G2. So H1 upon G2 plus G3 upon G2. So denominator will go into numerator, and therefore the block will be converted into G2H1 upon G2G3. So this block, after I am just modifying it, so it will be G2H1 over G2G3. So after this step we will get connection which is shifted here. You can draw a separate or you can directly connect it here. Now block diagram is modified like this way, and further we can apply any of the rules. So now this is a these two blocks are in cascade. So our next step is to solving blocks in cascade. Now we know that in cascade there is multiplication of the transfer function. So this g2 and this g2 will get cancelled after multiplication, and therefore we will get it as g2 plus g3, that is a single block. And our next step is eliminating feedback loop. This is our feedback loop and we have to eliminate this feedback loop. So again the rule is that it is g divided by 1 plus gh is its formula, and here this is our g and h is nothing but unity. So the final rule will be g divided by 1 plus g. So it is g divided by 1 plus g. As negative feedback is there, just put the values of respective transfer function and apply the formula and we will get. So after eliminating this feedback loop, we will get the transfer function as g divided by 1 plus gh like this. We are getting the modified diagram as this one, that is g2 plus g3 in numerator and 1 plus g2 g3 in denominator of this block. And now our next step is to solve blocks in cascade, as this g1 and this block is in cascade. So this g1 will multiply the transfer function of this g2 plus g3. So g1 multiplied by this one is our next transfer function after this step. So this is our further modification in diagram. Further you can modify multiply this g1 with this g2, so it will be g1 g2 plus g1 g3 and further simplify it, but keep it here right now. And this is our modified diagram. Now you can see that the only thing is available here is the feedback loop. So solving this feedback loop is nothing but the transfer function, that is c of s upon r of s equal to. Now this is your g and this is your h, and the formula applicable is g divided by 1 plus gh. Now I will keep it up to you to simplify it. Just calculate it and find the final answer. I will just write the final answer over here, calculation over here, and final answer here. Just pause the video and try to find the answer. So this is the answer and this is our expected calculation. Hope you have solved it properly. Thank you. And friends, if you like this video, please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for notification. And like, comment and share. Thank you.